Black Power family, Assalamu alaikum, Hotep, free the land. This is brother SHAKA SHAKUR, and I want to take this time out to just create a small, opinionated statement. I say opinionated, yes, there are facts, but you don't have to agree with my facts if you don't want to, because the overall aim is just to unite us. And I'm going to share some information along the way. I personally have an issue with the argument, or the ongoing argument, between Christianity and Islam and, Kemet and Yoruba, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, when, in my opinion, none of that is relevant right now, regardless. What you do in your home or what you do, as long as it creates a better person than you, knock yourself out. You want to be Buddhist, you want to be whatever, do your thing. You don't even want to believe in none of that. Do your thing. As long as you don't interfere with the process of liberation of African people, I really don't have a problem with you. And it's really not an issue. I'm a lover of history. I love to study. And, so it's fascinating to learn things. But in order to really appreciate the study of history, you have to appreciate the origin of history, which is African. And before I go any further, I just want to read off a couple of books from this bookshelf I have behind me so you can see that I'm not just talking. This is books that people should really get into if you really want to carry their argument a little further. One is The African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality by Sheikh Anta Diop. This book is right here. Let me show it to you. I don't know if y'all can get that. It's kind of light, but there it is. The African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality, Sheikh Anta Diop. That's one. Africanisms in American Culture. This is by Joseph E. Holloway. Africanisms in American Culture, another good book. And this talks about, the multicultural diversity of African people and how everything in America, everything stems from Africa. Of course, this is another one by the late, great war correspondent Del Jones. This book is called Culture Bandits. This is actually volume 2. I have volume 1. I just couldn't find it right now. But you need to get this, Culture Bandits, so you can understand, what is really going on. This is The Annihilation of African Images, Culture Bandits. Very good book. Another book, which I hear a lot of people quote, I don't know how many people actually read it, but here it is. The Destruction of Black Civilization, by our brother, the great Chancellor Williams. Another one is the book Stolen Legacy. Stolen Legacy, by our brother George G.M. James. And this goes into, the whole idea of Greek philosophy and where it really came from. We all know Kemet. Now, this book is relatively new, but I think this is a good addition to anyone's library who's serious about black nationalism. If you're serious about understanding black nationalism, you need this book. This is called The Black Power Movement. Black Power and the Garvey Movement. Very good book. And this is by Theodore G. Vincent, first published in 1970. Black Power and the Garvey Movement. And this book is really good because I hear a lot of people say, well, I'm a black nationalist. And, and they don't understand, not really understanding the depth of what being a black nationalist is. There are a lot of avenues to black nationalism. And there are a lot of controversial arguments within that realm. You're going to always see that because, remember, the African people, we're not just one solid people. When I say one solid, we don't come from one ideology. We have a variety of ideology. As a matter of fact, that's why Africa was so sought after by the European, because of the vast array of information overwhelming them. Remember, they come from a land that's dominated by one thought. Just that's it. But we come from a land of multitudes of thoughts, different levels of thoughts, different levels of spiritual expression, etc., etc. So, this is why to this day they constantly try to ravage and rape Africa. We have to understand that. But bringing it forward, I just wanted to say that, my main concern, and I'm going to be straight up with it, I really don't care who like it or who don't. But, at this hour in our struggle, when we have so much coming at us, white supremacy especially, groups like the Tea Party, police, intimidation and occupation throughout our country, throughout the world really, the economical situations, the hostile takeover of lands like Haiti and New Orleans, etc., the prison industrial complex, gentrification, mass unemployment, mass poverty, all these attacks on the African, and you have people at this day and time who have nothing else to do, nothing better to do than to get up and separate us. Separate us because I'm a this, I'm a that. And, I don't care how bright you think you are. We all emotionally, we have an emotional, tribal, territorial thing going on inside us as Africans. So we will quickly take a side. So, I don't like those guys from Kemet, so I'm going to raise up an Islamic army and I'm going to find all the facts in Islam to just downplay Kemet. And then I don't like the Islamic dudes, so I'm going to find all the facts in Kemet and I'm going to use these facts to attack them. And the two of them don't like Yoruba, so they're going to do the same thing to attack Yoruba. I'm going to tell you straight up, not only is that very agent-like or very, hurtful to our movement, it's also very European in concept. Because the European is the only person who will take information and then twist the information to create an enemy or to create a situation of us versus them. That's how white supremacy operates. They couldn't operate if they didn't have a us-them ratio going on. They have to have a, I'm superior, you're inferior. I'm civilized, you're savage. And we fall right into that with each other. And then you top that off, with the inborn hate that we have in our systems for ourselves. I don't care who we are, including myself, the brother on the video right here. We all struggle with the self-hate issue because we were born in this madness called America. So we can't act like we're not part of it. We were born in the madness called white supremacy, so we can't act like we're not affected by it. That's like jumping in a pool without getting wet. Now, if you can do that, jump in the pool, get out without getting wet, then you don't have to listen to this conversation. But everybody else, you need to slow your roll, and we need to just focus on liberation. Black nationalism, I think most eloquently put, and simply put by our brother El Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, is, black people controlling the economics, the education, and the politics that surround our lives. Period. End of story. If you want to set up a society with a Kemet base and you're controlling the economics, you're controlling the real estate, you're controlling the education, you're controlling the import-export finances of that society of black people who want to follow Kemet, knock yourself out. If you want to do it in an Islamic form, knock yourself out. Or any other way. That's what black nationalism is. Black nationalism is not, it has nothing to do with what you believe as a spiritual practice. It has to do with unifying your resources to control